Good morning.
Hi.
Morning. Not bad. It's not bad. I just want to double check before we get started, effectively working through team issues and problems. This is the course we're enrolled in, expecting, right room, all of that good stuff. I jokingly say that, but not really. The reason I ask is especially in some of these university type settings where there's lots of different rooms. I had a situation, it wasn't that long ago actually, where someone came in, sat down, about an hour and a half into the program, was this program, and they said, this is really interesting stuff, and I'm really enjoying, the team dynamics and the trust part, but when are we actually going to start to take and discuss what I signed up for, which I think was some sort of like bioengineering program, something totally 100% opposite of what we were doing. But they enjoy it. So if there's anyone who's looking for the bioengineering, it is down the hall. Right? No, I'm just kidding. My name is Tony White. I'm with a group named Stone Coast Group that's based out of Victoria. We have run this program, and I've run this program, I guess now, it's got to be close to about 100 times now across the province in the last 6 years. This is a big 6-year contract. This is another program. And unfortunately, I say unfortunately, this is the last program that is going to be run in this entire suite of programs, which is kind of scary because I noticed there was like 37 people on the wait list. So apparently there's still lots of people that want to take this program. But I guess like anything else, RFPs come to an end. New RFPs, requests for proposals, start again. And so hopefully we will bid on another one. We may see you again. But it's sort of bittersweet today in some ways because this is the last. We started in 2003, February of 2003, the first one, and this is the last one today in 2009. So coincides with the 1 year of the Olympics. I don't know what that has to do with anything, but maybe it has to do with something. I'm not sure. Interesting though, when you think of teamwork, and we're going to get right into this fairly quickly, it's interesting now with the economic times that we're in. Let me just do a quick show of hands. Is teamwork now more important or less important than it was a year ago? More? Yeah, kind of. I think in some ways, with the lack of resources, there's lots of downsizing in these areas, not only public but private sector. The ability to do more with less comes down to working together effectively as a team. I truly believe that. I mean, and I think we always would agree that teamwork is an important part of any sort of ministry position. I think in the last little while it's becoming even more so, and it could even more so depending on how this economic situation plays out long term. So I give you credit for being here to pick up some skills, to refine some skills, to learn some new skills today, and hopefully once again you'll have some fun doing that. I tend to like to do this. This is kind of what I've been doing for lots of years, and I enjoy it. I don't only do this stuff for public sector, but I do it for private sector. Plus I have some business interests where I actually have to lead teams and work as part of a team. And probably the most challenging team role that I have these days is trying to coach my 11-year-old son's hockey team. So I bring both, I guess, a corporate, private sector, and public sector perspective, and I know we've got a lot of years of experience here that I want to really draw upon today as well. So, just before we get started, I wanted to throw a quiz out. I know a quiz is always a good way to build rapport with a group early on. No? Oh. I'm picking up on it. Okay. So if you had to define an effective team, I'm going to do some introductions and all this good stuff in a few minutes. A group of coworkers that get along well at work and socialize after hours. Is that? Ken, what do you think? Does that work for you, or? Not a drinking team. No, I heard that.
I think that's a bonus, but I don't think that's not an insult for the team.
Right. It's a bonus, right? If it happens, and it happens to be the dynamics in that group allows for that to occur, you're right, I think it's a bonus. Is an actual definition of one? Absolutely not. A group of people that help each other out when things get tough or busy at work. Yeah? No? Kind of?
Better.
Yeah.
Better? Better? I think, again, that is certainly probably one element of an effective team. Right? One element. How about a group of people that are nice to each other and celebrate by having a team hug at the end of the workday? No? Alana, you're looking a little uncomfortable over there.
Yeah.
Yeah? No?
Yeah.
No. I'm obviously joking a little bit, having a bit of fun with this, because one of the problems with, I think, people like myself, in all fairness, who teach this stuff for a living, for years people have taught this teamwork is kind of this, it's a nice to have, it's this kind of warm and fuzzy entity that everyone should feel good at the end of the day and feel like they've accomplished something and be pals and backslaps and high fives and everything else. And although that does happen in some workplaces, and it does, I can attest to that, that should not be the goal of effective teamwork. I think most progressive organizations, whether it be government or private sector, it doesn't really matter, see teamwork now as an effective business competency to help you better reach goals more effectively, more efficiently, et cetera, et cetera. And it's not seen as a nice to do anymore. It's seen as pretty much, this is a core competency of anyone that has to work in an office or a ministry or the group of people, which is pretty much everyone, from my experience anyways. So what I've used as a definition, and this is in your book, and we'll get into this a little bit later on, but the true team definition that I've used is it's a number of people with complementary skills, kind of a critical part, the complementary, committed to a common purpose, not necessarily committable, although debatable at times, performance goals and approach for which they hold themselves mutually accountable. Now, this is the most academic we'll get all day, I absolutely promise, even though we're in the halls of hallowed higher learning, that's the most academic it's going to get today. But we're going to talk a little bit about that definition and how that might impact us back in the workplace a little bit later on this morning. So I just want to throw that up there. We're going to come back to that though and discuss that in a little bit more detail. I'm just going to close the door here just for a moment. Okay, so what I'd like to do, because we always have such a wide range of people in this program, ranging from sometimes team leaders to team members to supervisors, all different ministries, all different sometimes parts of the province. We need to know a little bit about why you're here, what you want to get out of it. You've done this stuff before, but we'll do a little bit of a different spin on this today. I won't make everyone stand up and say, hi, my name is, because we get sort of tired of that after a while. Once we've done it 35 times in the previous 35 courses, it gets a little bit old. So what I'd like you to do is, I'm going to get you into groups in a few moments, groups of about 4 or 5. Select a spokesperson for your team. I don't care how you do this. Only one person has to do this, not all 4 or 5 of you. So you can draw straws or arm wrestle, however you feel appropriate to do so. And what I'd like you to do, just get to know each other just briefly, sort of who you are, what you do, whereabouts you hang out, what's your position, a little bit. That one person is going to play that back for the rest of us. So in other words, if it was Mandy in this group was the team leader, for example, she got the small straw, what she might do is say, hi, my name is Mandy, I work for so-and-so, here's Christy, she does this, etc., etc. So introduce your group, but more importantly, I want you to take a look at this list, and this is generally the agenda for today. And let me walk through this real briefly. One is what I call the characteristics of effective teams. If we're going to be trying to be a better team member, team leader, whatever role you are in, we have to know what those characteristics are. What are the best practices that are out there of people that work effectively in teams? So that's definitely something we have to touch on. Second of all, we get into what I call the building or the rebuilding of the team foundation. And a lot of times we move along very nicely in teams, very swimmingly in some ways, and then sometimes we run into team issues. And many times the team issues are directly proportioned to the fact that we don't have a strong foundation to begin with for the team. That's critical. So we're going to discuss a little bit about that and do some assessment of our own teams. We're going to go to that big ugly word, trust. Critical part of teamwork. One of the, obviously, the biggest factors of reasons that teams fail sometimes is lack thereof of that. So we're going to talk a little bit about the practical dynamics of that. That'll sort of be our morning. The afternoon is, we're going to go through actually a team problem solving model. So if you have to go back to the office or you're part of a team and you're trying to solve a problem, you need a bit of a process to do that. You need a structure. You just can't say, okay guys, let's solve a problem. What we take you through is sort of a 3-step problem solving process that we actually do in the class, practice it, work it in teams, and therefore get a chance to experience it. And then the final portion of the day is what I call communication or feedback, and it's just some tips and techniques on communicating, giving feedback to peers, pun intended, peers, or your team leader, your manager. Because sometimes that can be a challenge for people to communicate upwards. They're okay communicating peer-to-peer, but upwards for some folks can be somewhat challenging. So those are the 5 key building blocks. So what I'd like you to do in your team, once you've met briefly, once you've introduced each other, then the team leader will, as I said, will introduce us. If you could only choose 2 of these 5 that you would like to really see me focus on, what would they be? So you have to do a little bit of consensus building in your group. Now, reality is I'm going to be going through all of these today, but what I generally tend to see is there tends to be pockets. And there's usually 2 or 3 of these that really come out as very strong in some groups. And so the ones that come out stronger, I'll spend a little bit more time and emphasis on. So you don't need to worry, we're going to cover every single one of these. But if you can only choose 2 as a team in agreement, what would be the 2 that you'd want to see me focus on today that you'd get the most value out of? Is that kind of clear as mud? Characteristics of effective teams, building, rebuilding the foundation, trust, team problem-solving model, communication. Okay, so why don't we make this really easy and just go, won't make you move around because there's not a lot of room here to do that, at least till this afternoon. If we go from Debbie through to, let's say, Denise, and then I can't see your card, unfortunately. May through to Catherine, that's okay. Andrea through to Dave, looks like that should work. And then Sharon through to Christy. So we have to rejig maybe a little bit. We'll give you about 5 minutes. Choose a team leader, get to know each other, prepare for the intro, 2 out of 5.